Welcome back to Desert Island Slabs, the podcast where we take my favourite collectors, your favourite collectors, the collectors that have inspired me, the collectors that have inspired you, and we look at them and we see them as we've never seen them before. I give them a task. They choose 8 items that they would save if they were stranded on a theoretical desert island, and we just see where we go with the conversation. My guest this month is Andrés Carmona, also known as champvanderford, also known as Daddy Pop Pop. He's inspired me for a few years now with his infectious personality, incredible collection, and when I wanted to do Desert Island Slabs, I knew I had to have the champ on. So he buys goats, he drinks champagne. Champ, how are you doing?
Man, I'm feeling better than ever, my man. I'm feeling great, blessed. Not champagne today, but we do Coronas. We do Coronas, so everything is great. Everything is good, man. How about you, man? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's going well. Been really looking forward to this. I had the opportunity. I blocked a few hours before starting filming with you to have a little read about things. We had a little chat about the order. We made a few modifications of things. So I think this is going to be an incredible episode. I can't wait. And any thoughts before we start?
Excited, determined, feeling great vibes, man. I'm excited, just excited, man. When you kind of reached out to me, I first thought it was some sort of prank. I honestly was like, what? And then I realized what it is that you're doing. And I believe that you're doing something amazing. You're showing us content that collectors want. And that's what this is about, man. This is about collecting. This is about stuff that's close to home, close that hits the heart. And so this for me was a journey, just going through trying to get a list together that I felt that was like a task. A champ in college only lasted a year and a half, and I only remember 3 days of it. So it didn't do too good in college. But I remember I was able to go back, man, and relive moments y'all actually spoke on something about the ratatouille moment. And that's literally what happened with every single one of my choices. I'm not lying. Every single choice brought something back to me that, man, it boosted Champ. It brought Champ back to life. I was able to kind of process certain things that occurred in my life that I hadn't really processed and really kind of thought about. So, first, man, thank you for, having me on. I can guarantee this is going to be a great one. And I appreciate what you're doing, man. And I know other collectors appreciate what you're doing. So I salute you for this. I'm ready. I'm ready to party, as they say, man. I got the beers, I got the shades, I got the Visine. I'm ready, man.
No, let's go. And to be honest, obviously you're Colombian. So where better to start than probably the most famous Colombian footballer of all time? Is that fair to say?
So, I am half Colombian, half Puerto Rican. My father is the Colombian side. So obviously being Colombian, a male, right? There is only one, and that is number 1, Carlos Valderrama, a.k.a. El Pibe. There was no other option for number 1. This was somebody that immediately I knew. I was like, man, this is it. This is my favorite player to collect. He's a player that I was able to, man, I went on a journey. I went on a good journey, searching. I didn't even know certain, I'm thinking there was 3 or 4 stickers and cards. That's it. Before I know it, I got boxes full. And a player that just stands for so much more than just a soccer player, man. He stands for, he is just in essence Colombia. He's Colombian soul. You know what I mean? He won't say the most proper things. He won't, you know what I mean? He doesn't hold his tongue, but his essence is pure Colombian. He came from nothing. This dude had no shoes. And he came to be the most iconic Colombian footballer of all time. I don't see anybody coming close to him as far as icon status. There's always an argument as to who's arguably the best Colombian player, and there's options for that. But as far as iconic, when you see him, if you're not from Colombia, you know he's Colombia. Does that make sense? Kind of like, you know what I mean? Like if you're from England, if you're from India, if you're from Jersey, if you're from Antarctica, you see that hair. You see that color. You realize that that's that one Colombian guy. And then the fact that he played here and was popular, was MVP, you know, he really tried to eliminate that stigma that Colombia had going into the late 90s, right? Because we did have a stigma, a pretty bad stigma, which we will discuss, right? And, you know, for him, I felt there was only one item to have. It was an item that when I first found out about it, I thought it was like this, what's called like mythical piece of paper that I would never get my hands on. I thought that I would never see it. I thought that I would find it, you know, in the next life. And before you know it, I start to research, I start to dig in, Google searches, going into different places. And I find this one picture that I had never seen. And, you know, when you've seen the same ones, you're like, hey, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And this was that Ace Ventura when he looks at that photo and he's like, who the is that? And he points at the photo and it's like the kicker. Wait, he wasn't that was what happened when I saw that picture. And when I first found out about it, someone told me it was 84. I look up, I'm like, he wasn't wearing that kid in 84, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then like I dig deeper, and before you know it, I was able to find out about the album, more stories, and one day it magically appears on good old eBay. And Daddy Pop Pop does what Daddy Pop Pop does. Had to grab it. So
yeah,
this is it, man. This is the full El Pibe album. This is, to me, a part of Colombian football history. I look at this and these guys look like they was partying 6 days out the week and playing only 2 hours a week, right? But he stands out. His you know, he stands out.
Yeah, it's a really great shot of him. And the album's the 1981 Estrellas del Futbol. Is that right?
Yeah.
Made by
straight from Colombia. This was straight from the streets. I feel that I couldn't have a Valderrama collection without that in my PC. There was no way. And the cool thing about that story is when I got it, I didn't open it. I waited, and I opened it prior to a live that I did with Al, who's like, you know, a GOAT. And I was able to show it to him and look at it. And that made the moment even more special because he knew how that meant to me. And he's someone that I hold high, right? And man, once I look through it, it's just, I love it. I love the coloring. I love just everything about it. When you look at all the teams, these dudes, I'm telling you, these dudes just look regular Joes. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that guy.
No, it's exactly like you see the sort of really manicured albums and things with the stock sort of appearance and photos, and then you have that looks a bit it looks a bit odds and ends in a way. They look like they've just been asked to turn up and just see what happens and things.
Like, hey, you come here.
And we've got like a little, you know, camera, like maybe an instant camera or something. We're going to get the photo and see what happens. But like you said,
it's and they actually stole that style from I think it's a 70s Panini sticker. It's the exact same design. And they just like pirated, you know, man, in Colombia, that's just what they do. So they, you know, it's, you know, a few years later, but it's a beautiful, beautiful piece to have. And if I'm on a desert island, I mean, I can see myself fanning myself with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In shade. it has a lot of
And
multi.
there's lots of different people in it as well. So you could look through it and find a new person to have a
Every
look at
player
each
has a
day.
story, and
Yeah.
and that's the journey about collecting. That if you start to like dig deep, man, every player has a story, right? Somebody knows something about him. There's something that he did in his younger days, and a red card he had in a crucial game. Like every dude in there has some type of history, and that's what makes it cool. That you like, to me, it's like the greatest thing to have just laying around, because people see it and they can't believe it's that. I just have it laying around. Like I'll have it on like the coffee table, just because it's like I don't want to treat it like I want people to see it. I want people to touch it. I like to touch it. I like to smell it. It smells weird, but I don't care. Like it's it's just I have it out and about, and it's a great piece to have. And he's a player. I mean, we spoke on him being iconic. He has some of the most iconic, like I feel like France foot, like those France foot, yellow border is epic, epic.
Yeah.
His flawless, I feel, is epic. His MLS stuff, we're talking pack pooled, on card auto,
Yes.
which in our thing is big, right? Like big. And that happened, right? He has game worn, like uniform, like that, all these pieces that I couldn't, like, I didn't know were out there. So as I start to submerge myself into all of these hunts, like, I was like, there's a, pack pulled on card auto. I got to have that. Like, there's no way I could not, that's got to be in my collection. And man, and I've had, honestly, the greatest connections too. I've had people that understand my passion, and it being a business, people come to me with stuff that they know only one person could like have that in their PC. And I've been blessed to just really, certain items have fell into my path just based on my champvanderford, like that aura of people knowing like he loves Prizm. So if they have something, hello, just go ahead and reach out to me. I'm still here.
Yeah, and because Prizm, I mean, obviously he's an iconic footballer, and often footballers are iconic, well, because of their performance on the pitch. But
Yes.
but he had some incredible moments on the pitch as well, in terms of the best player of the 1987 Copa America. Just
Can you imagine that in 1987 there was a fellow by the name of Diego Maradona, and Prizm was chosen as player of that tournament. If that's not a welcoming party to the world, I don't know what is, right? He comes in, our football had been, hate to say it, but non-existent on that type of, right? Like it wasn't there yet. And, he was able, because we actually brought in, now this is kind of where it's kind of cheating, I feel, but a lot of our early teams were literally one or two teams of our league. So they knew each other. They had chemistry. They've been playing all year long, and then they play, right, for, same team again. And so our team started to build this flow. And in that tournament, I mean, I believe we placed third. And that led to just him coming along, and then goes over to France. France calls him up. France, he goes over there. I know the first year, his style is like street soccer, you know what I mean? Like with flow, rhythm, touching the ball.
And like instinctive type play as well, like an instinctive player.
It's almost like what's called like tiki, what's called like taka, but like slow down even further. So like it's like he's kind of like in slow-mo with it. And that's why in that he struggled, because that game at that point was different for what he was used to. The second year, though, he picked it up, and then the offense was running through him. They were able to do a lot better. He then goes to Spain. Did not click in Spain. They brought in like a whole trio of Colombians. They should have known that was going to be a bad idea to bring 4 Colombians and pay them money and have them partying in Spain for like a soccer season. Higuita, and you know what I mean? Like, they come on, man.
No language barrier, no nothing. They just can go straight into it.
because they were straight Colombians. So if you put them, it's like really like they stuck out, right? And then it's like, 1990, they shocked the world. We tied West Germany. We did. A team that was not supposed to be there. A team that people were probably laughing at, that we weren't going to do nothing. And we tied Germany, advance.
Venido para entregando para el pie, Valderrama el pie por la pelota, atención, pica la pelota, arranca con balón dominado, entregando sobre la izquierda, muy bien para Rincón con el bendito, entregando para el pibe, muy bien, viene Colombia, Dios mío, Colombia.
Like that alone, that goal, I remember that goal. I remember my father, my brother, like screaming. At this point, I didn't know what was going on. Like young Champ was in a Transformers and WWF wrestling, right? Champ wasn't, he wasn't fully into, right? Like, and we're talking 1990, but I remember that moment. I remember those screams. I remember that joy. And I remember as time went on and I was able to look back, I was able to realize why there were screams, right? It was such a moment. We went toe to toe, and then they go on and win the World Cup. So guess what? Colombia won the World Cup in 1990. Yeah, I'm saying it. Champ saying it. We won the World Cup in 1990 because we tied them, and nobody could tell me nothing different. Like, we walked around. I remember my father was like, going to work the next day, feeling great. Everybody was feeling great. The restaurant, the flow we own a Colombian restaurant called La Fogata Restaurant. If you're ever in Houston, check us out. Sorry for the ad. And I remember our
I'll
customers.
Invoice you after.
Sorry.
No, I'm not joking.
But man, it was a moment for our football. We got in the door, right? We got in the door.
Yeah.
And that led up to 94, which we will speak on later. And I mean, he kept going with it. Then he goes back to Colombia and wins the league in 95. I love that he goes back to his country. He wins. He wins in 93 and 95, right? Then MLS knocks on the door. He's older now. He's a little slower. He comes to MLS, and it's like the man went back 20 years. He completely begins to just dominate. And, to this day, he owns the assist record. To this day, right?
26. I was having a little read of the pre-show prep. He's got 26 assists that season for Tampa Bay Mutiny, they called it, I think. That's an insane number of assists.
Champ had one assist in my entire career, and I was like 9. That's it, just one. He had 26 in a season. Like that's just absurd to and I feel, I don't think it's gonna get broken. I hope not, right? I hope it doesn't get broken. Please don't break that record. I want him to have that record. He deserves that record. He deserves to be, I hope, honored as this league grows. I hope they bring him out more. They kind of infuse him in promos and infuse him in because he's someone that's very outspoken too. He speaks his mind. He's very opinionated, but he speaks his heart, and that's why people have always loved him. He's someone that is real. He's authentic, and Colombians love someone that's authentic. Even if you don't agree with them, if they're authentic, it's like, okay, I tip my hat to him, right? And man, I mean, he's that guy. He's that guy, man.
And he's a great place to start on our journey today.
Ooh.
And we're going to continue our journey again. Now, you mentioned about street footballer, Carlos Valderrama was, and then going forward a few years, not too far, this is another player that often had that street footballer moniker attached to him, literally with a very famous franchise with FIFA. But let's have a chat about your next item.
Number 2. Dun, dun, dun. Number 2. My man. I think people know this one right here. Ronaldinho. the Brazilian pibe. Brazilian soul, magic, pace, improved everyone in front of him. You know, whoever was in front of him, they became better by him being on, you know, on that ball attacking, right? He was on that left.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like he brought fun. You know, when people were still, you know, like he built something, this flow, this surge from 02, 03, 04. Like he was the guy, I feel like, easily in the world for like a solid 3 year, a good 2.5, 3 years. Then the man, you know, once you hit the top, you must hit the bottom. I think he, you know, once you reach certain heights, it's very hard to be motivated day in and day out. And I know in France, I remember there was talk about him starting to party too much. World Cup though, 2002, a moment that, you know, will forever live in infamy for multiple reasons, right? There were screams of horror and screams of sheer joy that morning and evening. We could discuss the England free kick, which is one of my moments for me watching that. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That's a goal that not, you know what I mean? It's magic. You can't really, or a thunderbolt of bad luck if you look at it that way too.
It was a magical goal. I mean, obviously there's a degree of conjecture about whether he meant it. I think he did mean it. I think he completely knew what he was doing. And I mean, yeah, obviously everyone in England has this slow motion, horrible flashbacks of Seaman's ponytail flapping as he tries to claw back. And yeah, with regards to that quarterfinal, I mean, it was because you're obviously, it was very early hours of the morning for you, but it was the 7:30 British summertime kickoff for us. And I was in 7th grade, year 7 at the time, and our school opened very early that day so that we could watch the quarterfinal between England and Brazil. And we had all the bacon sandwiches and stuff, projector up, and then starts really well. Michael Owen scores, obviously, and we're like, because that was a year we really felt that we could actually win. That was a real belief year. And obviously then we lose 2-1, and some people are crying. Obviously, we're not particularly emotionally adjusted. You've been knocked out of the World Cup, and we have to do the rest of the school day then. And it was just really...
keep living.
Yeah, it was really disappointing, but in a way, because also that was in the era as well. It like 2002, where stuff wasn't accessible. So I don't think we'd heard of Ronaldinho or anything. He wasn't, like, in terms of now, I feel, any promising young player, especially if you track the hobby. You hear about them basically when they're an embryo. But now back then it was almost a bit more mysterious. And so Ronaldinho, he obviously is quite a distinctive looking chap. And he got red carded in that game as well. Don't forget, he got sent off for a not very good tackle. And obviously, you don't know what he's going to go on to become, and then he goes on to become one of the best footballers of all time. Just, again, a very instinctive footballer. And he did burn out quite fast. And, I wonder with Ronaldinho, I think with the way he played, he was never going to be able to maintain that level, because it came from a different place. It wasn't that sheer, like, almost, I love CR7, but like robotic brilliance, or like Messi, just sheer commitment. It had a bit more like, there was a bit more, I don't know, flair, passion, almost instinct type thing with Ronaldinho. And
it was kind of like a chef's kiss, his flair. Flair is the perfect word for him. Like how he dominated, but it seemed like he was having the most fun.
Yeah.
Like nobody was having more fun than him on that field, right? Like he was just every goal, every assist. And you're right. He gets to the top of the world, right? He dominates 2 years. And it's crazy. I see him 3 weeks after 2002 World Cup ends. So I see
Really?
him. Obviously, that was a disappointing World Cup, right? Roberto Carlos, let's not talk about that horrible era of his, right? Where he just stayed still and Henry comes doing his French flying, beautiful kicking thing that he does. And you know, he so yeah, they come to Houston. It's like a tour, right? Barcelona. They do like a 3-city tour, and we're city number 2. At the time, it was the most people in a football event here in America, soccer event, right? 70,000 people. They came a day before. They went to Nassau, right? They went, saw the spaceships. They had Dino in Mission Control Center, Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta, like on like spaceships, right? It was crazy. Next day, I go see them, the champ, live in the flesh against Club America, right? So Houston is America, but Houston is, you know, close to Mexico. So when Mexico plays in Houston, it's practically like a home game. I mean, it's ridiculous. That game was one of the craziest experiences for me because I realized then, like, I felt a building shake. Now, Champ's a big boy, and Champ shakes stuff when he walks. But have you ever been in a stadium with 70,000 people and you feel it vibrate? You feel it like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, that vibe, that whole game, that team starts off 4-1 first half, right? Club America is clowning. One guy has the game of his life, right? 4-1. Mexicans are drunk. Mexicans are partying in the crowd. This now has become a full-blown, like, full festival now. The crowd, you know, HPD is allowing people because they know people are having fun. Next thing you know, second half warm-ups, Dino starts. They put him in. Oh, man. Game changes immediately. Flow, vibe. People are now watching this game like, oh, man, right? 60th minute. Well, let's go a little back. Maybe 50th minute. A young Messi starts to warm up. Messi at this time was probably 20, 21. This is in 06.
Yeah, 19
So Messi,
even, I think he was. I think
22,
he's 80,
right?
87 he's born, I think. So probably like 19. Yeah.
Right? So he
Yeah.
starts to warm up. So imagine the whole stadium. Game is going on. Everyone's looking at this young kid because at this time, everyone's saying he's the one, right? He comes in. That game switches. Ronaldinho, I mean, I've never seen a performance for those 45 minutes. I wonder if that's what it felt like to see like Tyson in like the 80s. Like, I knew I was watching the best player in the world at that particular moment. Like, I was able to witness, and I'm talking about Ronaldinho right now. That's crazy that we're saying this while Messi is on the freaking pitch, right?
Yeah.
Iniesta is on the pitch, right? Xavi, who I love, he didn't play that game, but to see Dino in his moment, in his element, controlling the crowd, wowing the crowd. We're talking about 68,000 Mexicans and like 2,000 like Barca fans, right? They end up tying the game. Dino gets a freaking penalty kick in the 89th minute. And young champ with a digital camera, right? Young champ takes this great picture of
It's
that
amazing.
moment.
Yeah.
Messi's in the picture. The game is 4-3. Come on, man. This is the only copy I have, by the way. So, type 1 photo, PSA 8.
Yeah.
But that moment, when his face, I remember looking up at this big screen, and you see his eyes. It looked like a great white shark in water, like orca. Like, his eyes, he was like, and the whole stadium like is like, like the moment, like when he makes that goal, everything rumbled. Young champ realized, like, I thought basketball was global. Man, it's nothing compared to football. Dino, they end up tying 4-4. I end up, later on, I could say I saw Dino at the time, the best ever, and freaking Messi same night, Iniesta. I think they left Xavi on a spaceship in what's called like Nassau because he didn't play that game. Eto'o, I saw freaking Samuel Eto'o. Like, you know what I mean? Like players that now I look back and whoever else was on Club America. No, they're totally right. But it was a great moment for me. I experienced it with my brother, who's going to tie into all these moments. And we'll never forget walking out of that stadium. Right, everyone is having the greatest time, and Mexicans usually they get a little rowdy if things go wrong. Right, but this game it was 4-4. They won. To the Mexicans, they won. No, they played against Barca and tied Barca, right, with Messi and Dino, right? And it wasn't no important game. They actually played 6 months later for the FIFA Club World Cup final, and Barca wins 4-0. I thought that was cool. That was like 6 months later when it actually meant something, right? But that night, it was a great moment for me. I saw, I tell people, I saw Dino in his prime. This was 3 weeks after 06. He had just won, he was back to back, right? Like he had done it. And I got to see him in the flesh, saw his influence on that crowd. And that's why he's the man. So yeah, I brought, look at them smiles, man.
Yeah, the Pepsi's a nice one as well, isn't it? It's a nice
such a
one.
different item, right? It's such a different item.
I've got a few.
I always have.
The foot it's a good one.
I love this one here. The foot's great.
I think for me, I mean, I don't own the Wizards of the Coast one as well. Yeah, I like the foot one probably more than the rookie sticker. That's the thing. I actually prefer that one in terms of the way it looks.
Image,
actually,
right?
Yeah,
it's such a beautiful image, and it's his first like crossing the pond. I love these kind of mirror just because it's their face before they're about to like take on this challenge of, there was somebody back home, but now they got to be somebody in the world, right? And man, he's just amazing. He's someone. The guy freaking wins a World Cup in prison. Come on, man.
Yeah.
He freaking gets locked up in jail and wins in jail. Like, they had a tournament. I think the dude won. Like, that's how good he was, that even in prison he was winning, man. This one right here, I love, man.
Yeah, that's the patch one, isn't it?
Yeah, I love this one right here.
Yeah.
Oof. Love this one too.
So obviously you've got an incredible Ronaldinho collection. What was it? And maybe an easy question, but what was it that made you choose the rookie, the Campeonato, as your item number 2? Why?
It's because when I got into this, that was, I mean, it was considered a big dog sticker, right?
Yeah.
And he was one of my players, so it was kind of like I knew, I was like, man, that's something that I gotta have. Like, how could I not have that? And I know there's another one. I'm not sure if it's pirate or not, but there's this other one, right? That I've seen. But to me, I like it when they have one rookie, right? It just kind of feels good that you could have one item and that's their true rookie or whatever, right? And it's just beautiful. His image, he looks like a little kid, like, he has these powers, but he doesn't know how to use them yet. If that makes any sense, right? It's a cool image, and it's his first one from back home. Those to me are like we saw with number 1. I love those. I just think that they're just, if you're really a fan of someone, you got to have their rookie. I know that sounds kind of messed up to say, but I just feel that way. If they're one of your top guys, you got to have it, or you at least got to be always trying to get it or get a better one, or always climbing that what's called like ladder, right?
Yeah.
But Dino, man, he is as I said with Pibe, but Dino is the man. It was short lived. I think not everyone could get that dose of success, the amount he had it. It's very hard to control that much fame, that much power, and stay consistent with your training, with your mental focus, with so many things as far as off the pitch that you got to do with sponsors, and then on top of that, enjoying life, And then you got to wake up and train. And I think that once he reached the top, he was king of the world. He was eating, shrimp and rice every night, drinking wine, and then going out the next day and playing great. But like, as you said earlier, which was a great point, he couldn't sustain that. It was short lived, but we got to see magic for those like 3 years, right? Oh man, amazing.
Yeah, and like you say, I think when you win La Liga, when you win the Champions League, when you've won the World Cup, it's probably it's difficult. That's the thing, and people often say like almost in a critical way, but I don't know how I'd respond to such levels of success. It must take away a little bit of motivation to an extent.
Champ would be in prison. I'd be serving a good 30-year sentence if I had that type of fame and power, because I would not be able to control that.
Yeah, it must be difficult for the chemicals in the brain to have to process such a level of fame and things. And that's actually an interesting move, because the next, well, it's not really a player actually with this one, but it's more of the team. But that's someone who also had some difficulty controlling his chemicals in his brain. But then he started, being able to control them a bit better. So should we have a chat about your next item?
So number three is an item that it's great because it's a memory from a day that I was physically able to stand with my children and him in like the same moment. And that was, it was something that I'll never, ever, ever forget. Right. So the next person, or team really, Houston Rockets. So Champ lives in Houston, Space City. And you can't talk about Houston without talking about Hakeem Olajuwon, right? Hakeem Olajuwon is somebody that in my opinion, the greatest center of all time. Obviously, that's very biased just because I saw him do things that I didn't see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I didn't see Wilt Chamberlain. So that kind of sucks. Like Bill Russell, I feel, he won, I think, 11 championships in 13 years. Like, I didn't see them play, but I saw Hakeem Olajuwon play. I saw him dominate during a time where I was obsessed with this team. I was somebody that got attached to them, and I followed them on this journey. They ended up winning 2 championships back-to-back, 93-94, 94-95. And he's somebody that just changed the game. He was a center that had footwork like a guard. His defense, his offensive, like post work, his footwork, his demeanor. He was somebody that, as we spoke early on, was very aggressive, was fighting, knocking out players left and right. The dude was just jabbing and hooking players. Like, it was a crazy time. And he gets into his religion. He really begins to study, focus, and everything changes. Everything. His flow, his game, it's amazing. Like, I had to research because I was like, what is going on? And it was crazy how he brought me into a world, and I had to understand his approach to why he was doing what he was doing. They were talking about in the old stadium that he had a prayer room and he would pray 5 times a day. As a young, kid, I was like, whoa, that I had to research about that. And I became engulfed in him and just learning his story of him not playing basketball till later on in life. He played football. He was a goalie. He comes here, gets offered to what's it called, U of H, does well here, almost wins the, like college, you know what I'm saying, like Final Four, lose on like a last second shot, gets drafted number 1 in the same draft as Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and ends up becoming a dominant force, and then wins 2 championships. And man, this jersey, I got to do a meet and greet. I got to take my kids, and man, got it signed.
Yeah.
And I got to stand, like, it was crazy. I was in line, James. This is crazy because if I was a man and another man is staring at me in this manner, I'd be a little scared. And I'm being honest with you here, because I was looking at this man like in awe. if that's starstruck, that's what it is. My eyes were locked onto him. Everything around it was on mute. Everything was on pause. And I remember just like I had seen him before, but this time, this is up close. This is like right there with them. My kids, right? I'm like, oh man. And I walk up to him. I got my kids. I'm like just confused, bamboozled. I'm like lost. And he sees me. I reach out my hand and I literally like I didn't know, like, you know, Champ was lost. And all Champ says is, thank you. I shake his hand. And you know what this great man tells me? He goes, you're welcome. Oh my God, that was it for me. Like, I got to thank him and he said, you're welcome. Like, as a fan, is there a better exchange than that? Just like, what else can I tell him? That he was there for me in a time in '94, man. I went through a lot of things, man. Young Champ had family issues, as we all do. We all do. And during this time, I mean, it was all about Rockets. Like I got so into it where it was like I didn't want to think about nothing else but who we were playing next. I was looking at box scores. I was starting to memorize player heights, colleges that they went to, what round they were picked. Like at that time, you could ask me any stat and I was just engulfed. I got consumed by it because I didn't want to be consumed what was going on in like the real world, right? Parents are going through it. You know, as a child, I think you assume that everything is going to be peaches and cream, the white picket fence, the family outings all the time. And I think as you get older, you realize how it's possible, but it's not something that you should automatically assume because life hits you. You know what I mean? Life doesn't always go the way you want it to go. Life goes the way it goes, and we have to adapt to what occurs afterwards, right? And during this time, man, they were my escape. They were my crutch, my therapist. Like VHS tapes, I would sit there and watch the games over and over again. Like if they wouldn't play for 2 nights, I would watch that game like 3 or 4 times. So the next game, I was like scouting other teams, going back like, oh yeah, we played them in in this month. And I would go back and watch the game and I would have notes like I was a freaking coach. Young Champ wasn't a coach. He was just enamored by the sport, and the Rockets went on a run, man. It was like everything hit at the right time. And I'm blessed that happened to me. I don't know how I would have turned out, man, if Rockets don't win, because that was my everything is going to be all right moment. Does that make sense, James? Like it was like when the Rockets won, Young Champ was depressed, and they won. Man, everything went away, man. Everything went away. Champ was good. Champ was like, man, that's my team. I was walking around. All I wanted to talk about was Rockets, Rockets, Rockets. I didn't want to talk about nothing else but Rockets, man. And that's why I'm indebted to that team. To this day, I follow that team. If y'all think Champ loves R9 and Bive and all that, man, you should watch. Y'all should. I should live stream me watching the Rockets game of how passionate I am. Like that's my team, and I breathe with them. I live with them. I'm gonna die with them. Like that's a team that every year I have hope for. They could be the worst team in the league, and Young Champ is behind them, right? Like, look, this is our young horse, our young prodigy, Alpi Şengün. He's from Turkey. So Champ's using his football knowledge to conquer the patch on card auto world of basketball. Yeah, because that's where it's at with the Rockets, man.
And like Hakeem Olajuwon, like you said, you had that moment with him where you said thank you and he said you're welcome, and that it's sort of it shows you that he gets it in a way, because you mentioned that
he was looking at me in line. He saw me coming up in line, and he was like, I'm honestly thinking, he's thinking, yo, man, is this dude gonna serve me some court documents? Is he gonna tackle me? Who's this who's this sweaty big guy, just because I'm just staring at him like it was like lock on. I'm talking like Halo, right? BR rifle. I just locked on him, and I couldn't take my eyes off of him. I was just, I'll never forget that. I've never. This is gonna sound bad, but this is where I'm at with it. I've never looked at a man in that manner in my life, and I'm not ashamed to say that. He was amazing, man, and he dominated every series. We were like the underdogs in every series. He somehow got us. This team we had: Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell, Robert Ory, Otis Thorpe, Carl Herrera, who I'm going to talk about in a sec. All this tied into role players that found out that he made them better. And it was crazy because when he found that out and he started passing, we became untouchable. And memories, man. And that's why to this day, 1994, which we'll talk about multiple times, is something that is big, man. Carl Herrera actually, he actually used to go eat at my restaurant, and that's where the love for it began, man. He would go eat at a restaurant. I ended up meeting him, ended up going to a game that season. So as you can imagine, I got hooked immediately. It's like I felt a part of the team. Later on, 2004, I go to an open practice. They're holding auditions for large people to try out for a dance team. Young champ, thick champ, tried out. Out of 60 people, I'm the only one that they called back. Auditions lasted like 2 hours. I get the call a week later. They're like, "Yo, are you in?" And I'm like, I've been in. Greatest job experience of my life. I worked for them for 3 years. There's footage of young champ in a Laker cheerleader outfit for a skit I did somewhere on the internet. Anybody that finds that footage, I'll give them $1,000. Just throwing that out there. It was a great experience, man. I got to watch sports live. I got to see how it works as a business, seeing the behind the scenes of what you do when the screen is not on during timeouts and how it's ran as a business. We danced at 8 to 10 games. So I had a pass for every game. So for 3 years, from 2004 to 2007, I was like at probably 99% of the Rockets games. The games that I didn't dance, I was there. I got cool with every security guard. I was like everybody knew me in there, man. It was like I would walk around like I owned the place, man. It was an amazing thing because they knew I loved it, right? They knew it.
Yeah, and with the dancing then, so how did the practice go? How does it work? Is this something I don't know about? What was it?
So it was about like 13 of us. The whole thing was we had to weigh 350 pounds or more, right? So I was the smallest one. That ought to tell you everything. Everybody, we had some dudes that was like 500 pounds, right? Solid. So the dancing, we would have the court for like 30 minutes and we would get it like after the cheerleaders. So as you can imagine, Champ liked to get there a little early just to be able to focus on the routine that was expected of him. But nothing beats sitting courtside watching cheerleaders practice. Champ could definitely say that. Great memories, man. Great memories. But yeah, we would practice and we would do dances to like 80 songs, like Journey, Police, and like rock songs and just like dancing. And we had steps and we would dress up and we would have we really took it to another level. The guys were a great group of guys and they kind of I was like kind of different. I was like the guy that listened to rap and, I wasn't, they were all older, married at the time. I was, still a stud. And it was just a great moment, man. I got to follow Yao Ming, who I love. Yao Ming was such a great person, great player. T-Mac, and man, so I literally worked for my favorite team. That was a great experience. We got fired because one of our guys got into it with the mascot and our boss. They let go of our whole team, but then they kept me on. So they actually told me hey, we're gonna fire you, but we want to rehire you. And I stayed for one game, and then I felt it just wasn't right for my teammates, man. I couldn't stay there after they let us all go. I didn't feel right. I felt like I would have been so I had to take one for the team, man. Champ plays for the team. Like I said, it was a great group of guys. I learned a lot from all those guys. And so that was my experience, though. But I was an in-game dancer, man. I was literally a performer, man, in front of 20,000 people doing literally just all types of movement, break dancing. Man, it was crazy, crazy, crazy.
That must have been quite the rush. Obviously, you get to see your heroes on the court, but also you get to perform in front of all those people as well. That must be a real high.
I was made for the limelight. Champ was made for the limelight. I loved it. I've never seen it's like I could see why people like to perform on stage and you know what I mean, like make music, make art. When you see their eyes, you know what I mean, like it connects with you. And it's just with art, with anything. Dancing to me is art. Funny. It was a whole bunch of big dudes, sweating, smelling, disgusting, like locker room smells. But it was a great moment. It was a great moment. It just like I felt connected, right? I felt connected. Yeah. I still am.
And yeah, because I mean, like I think the whole point of this is connection as well. And you mentioned about Carl Herrera, who ate at your restaurant, and then the next person also ate at your restaurant. Yes. Is that right? So tell me a little bit about what we're going to discuss next.
So the next person, I'm gonna lay out the scene, right?
Yeah.
This is 2016 Copa America. It's in Houston. We basically, for like 4 months before, we knew that they were going to come to Houston. So Houston, we have about 50 Colombian restaurants. Like there's a lot of us, right? And everyone was kind of, throwing it out there that they were the official home of the, of the soccer team, and come watch the game there and this and that. Our restaurant, we've been open for 37 years. We just do our job. We just like tie our bootstraps and go to work, right? So we weren't talking. We're just working. I always say this is the alley-oop of all alley-oops. One of our guests, his name is Norman. He's been coming to eat for us, for years, since he was a child. He would come with his family. So he's a Houston police officer. It just so happens that he got assigned to Colombia to be with them when they were here on their off day. So that just starts to set up the story, right? Granted, they're about 45 minutes away, and if it's traffic, it's like an hour away. So he ends up getting Juan Guillermo Cuadrado, Carlos Baca, and Jason Murillo. Okay, those three gentlemen, he's in charge of on their off day. So he takes them to the mall, driving around. Hey, man, we're hungry. Could you take us to a place? But we want real Colombian food, man. We just ate somewhere in L.A. and we just didn't like that style of food. No offense to California. I've never been there. Sorry. And they're like, we want some Colombian, like, that soul food, like our food, right? And Norman is like, I have the spot for you guys. Like, it's a little far though. It's about 45 minutes to an hour. Cuadrado says, man, let's go. Is it good? Norman's like, yeah. So, boom, they head over. It just so happens that Champ is there. This is a Thursday around 5:30, which is our dead time. I was there at work. I just happened to be there hanging out. So they come in through our side door, and Norman comes in first. And he comes in and he asks one of our guys, he goes, hey, is Andres here? And it's like, no, because I usually tell people I'm not there if I'm in the back cooking, because I don't like to come out if I'm on the line or if I'm on expo, and then I gotta, like, if I'm on call, I try not to come out, right? It's kind of hard, right? Because I like to get dirty. And he basically is like, well, can you call him and let him know that I got the Colombian national team in the car and they want to come inside and eat? So the waiter, he thinks this is a joke. He doesn't really know him. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, sure. Okay, cool. Table for what? 4 guys? He's like, yeah, table for 5 guys. Okay, cool. Norman goes outside. The waiter comes inside and he tells me, he goes, hey, a guy named Norman says he's got the Colombian national team with him. But that's a joke, right? We look, so I have cameras in the back, and we look at the cameras, and oh my God, they walk in. Can you imagine 3 Colombian national players during Copa America walking into your business? You don't pay for this. You don't, like, our restaurant was deserving of this moment for all the hard work that our team has ever done. They walk in, and then Champ goes into boss mode. I freak out, first of all, for like 10 seconds. I had my little girly, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Then I immediately tell Juan, who's like our assassin, right? I'm like, Juan, we're about to make the best food we have ever done. And he looked at me and was like, listo, viejo, like, ready, boss. Oh, man. They walk in. I go out there. I see Norman, and I'm just like, Norman, man, what's up? And he's like, hey, man. So all I ask is no pictures. Don't tell no one that they're here, and we'll take all the pictures with you afterwards. They just want to eat calm and relax. I'm like, what? No problem. Like, of course. Gee, go ahead. This is your restaurant, right? At the time, we only had 2 tables. So it wasn't busy at all. We have like, at the time we had, I think 12. So only 2 of them are, it wasn't packed at all. This is where the problem begins. A young kid comes in. So remember, this is Colombia mania. Colombian fans are traveling with the team, following them while they're at the mall, driving around, following them, staying outside of there. You know what I mean? Like hunting them down. This kid comes in and I don't know if he went on Facebook or Instagram Live, and he posts, like, he starts to record him while he's paying at the register. Worst possible thing that could happen. So our waiter sees him and he's like, yo, man, turn that off. What are you doing? And like the little kid is like, man, how can I not record this? Like, it's like a kid that's like 12, he's like young. He's like, how can I not record this? So, man, within 15, 20 minutes, let's just say the restaurant had about 10 tables, and 8 of those tables were just people looking at Colombia, like eating.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm like, oh man, like I messed this up. Like, I couldn't, it was like, I could have done something. I could have, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, kind of like, all right, so now I got to be bodyguard. Like, now I want these guys to not get bothered. So I just stood, I hung out, was calm. Anyone try to come up, it's like, hey, afterwards they'll, take photos, blah, 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 blah. The guys ate such a spread. So Cuadrado had a churrasco, which is like a 16-ounce sirloin steak with rice, beans, fried plantain, and French fries. Baca had a bandeja paisa, which brings rice, beans, plantain, meat, sausage, pork strip, avocado, white corn patty, and a fried egg on top. And Murillo ate, I want to say it was coconut shrimp, which is like shrimp in the sauce that we have. They tore everything up. They ate so good that I think we're the reason that they lost a couple of days later. I was telling everybody, like, fuck, man, we should have gave them salads, man. Like, sorry. Oh, there goes the second. Error alert. Bad word alert.
That's all right. We had a word before. That's all right. You're allowed one. You're allowed
one. And man, it was a great moment. I only called my father. I called him. I was like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, I'm at home. I'm like, Dad, drop whatever you're doing. Put on your kit and come here. He's like, what happened? I'm like, just put on your kit and come here. My dad walks in like 10 minutes later, looks at them. He looks at me and he's like, how did you do this? And I looked at him and I was like, I didn't. Like, this is destiny. This is dinner with destiny. Like, it just so happened that they were attached to a great guy, Norman, who brought them to our spot. He had so many choices. There was like 20 restaurants from where they were at to where we were at. And he brought them all the way to our spot, right? So they finished the meal, restaurants packed. they have to leave. They start to get uncomfortable because it was about 50 people inside now. And this is people that I didn't call. I only called my dad. This is just customers and people then coming in. And since there was such a fever for them, it was like the Beatles, right? It was literally the Beatles traveling. So they took pictures. A great picture that I have is me and my pops. My dad looks like he's shell-shocked. Because that picture was taken maybe 4 minutes after my father walks in. So he walks in, and that picture, his eyes are just like, he's like, right? Like he's just lost. Then what's crazy about all this, a couple years later, 2019, me and Norman still talk, man. Norman's a great guy, awesome guy. He sends me a message that Cuadrado wants to know if we want to go see them play in Tampa. And I'm like, wait, what? He's asking us if we want to go to Tampa to see them play. He's like, yeah, he's got tickets. He's got everything for us. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm down. Oh, yeah, Champ's always down for something like that. End up flying. We get there. We're in the hotel, the same hotel, obviously, because they want us to go towards them, right? But then we get there, and the greatest thing is Norman's like, all right, man. So they want us to go up to the room now. And I'm like, they want us to go up to the room. He's like, yeah, they want us to go see them in like the hotel room. And I'm like, you're kidding. Like, we're going to go to the hotel room? Like, oh, man. We go up there, man. It's Mina and Cuadrado and their agent, Andre, I still talk to Andre to this day. He's a great guy. He's like their player agent. He's the one that does all their deals with Subway and Adidas and all that stuff. And, man, I walk in there and Champ starts shaking in his space boots. I'm telling you, when Champ gets around these heroes of mine, these people that I admire, man, I realize that they're normal like me. I get it. I know that they pay bills. I know that they have families that they got to, provide for. And, everyone does the same thing, right? But I'm still that young kid that looks at these guys as heroes. I'm still, when it comes to sports, man, I'm still 13, 14 years old. It's like, I got stuck in this time warp that I'm still a kid with this. And that's what I want people to like understand about why I do this, how I do it. It's because of all these moments that I'm explaining. Like, this is real for me. This isn't fake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you see is what you get with me. Like, all these moments have made me who I am. And I've been able to appreciate life and this journey and attaining these items. Like, man, like real quick, like simple. Look at this. Look at that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fav.
It's
Look how beautiful that is.
Yeah,
and this is his first
really...
Prizm. Cuadrado's first Prizm. I have it. Like, there's 5 of them, and I have one. That means a lot to me. Like I could crack this and get this signed. How cool is that? Having a gold power autographed on card. Like, man, I don't need a slab for that. I just need that in like a what's called like one touch. I'm good, right? Like, so when this came up, I had to jump on it. I couldn't. I was like, there's no way that I could not have that. And since when I dig deep, I dig deep, right? So I want to show y'all. These are all of his Calciatori stickers.
Yeah, because he was obviously he was at Fiorentina, and then he had a not so great spell at Chelsea for a bit of a weird time. Because when he came to Chelsea, I mean, he'd been brilliant in Fiorentina. And when he signed for Chelsea, it was like, this is where he's going to go and transcend and become a global star. And it didn't quite work out for him in Chelsea for whatever reason. But then he went back to Juventus and again was very successful there.
Found his niche there, yeah.
But
cool with that story, right? So this is the sticker for NRG Stadium in Houston for the 2016 Copa.
Yeah.
And then I have the 3 gentlemen that came to the restaurant. I got their stickers.
Yeah.
Right? I got a birthday message from Baca on one of my birthdays. That was the coolest thing. I get a text from, I'm like, Norman, okay, hello. And he's like, yo, man, I got something for you. And it's Baca telling me happy birthday, man. That was cool. He's like, yo, Andres, one day we will, see each other again in life. And your service was amazing, your food. Because our food is really good, too. That's why Champ is thick, right? It's great food. But yeah, man, I had to have these. These mean a lot to me because this is 2016. Like they were there, right? Like oh man, I love it. And I got this one too, the gold of
Yeah,
fundamentals.
that's
I love this one, man.
2018 is it fundamentals,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
your first well the main item is the gold power out of 5 2014 Prizm, which is obviously
I'm never gonna. This is with me forever. I mean, if I could find the Samba, I mean that would be nice, right? But I don't think I'm gonna find like that one ever. But this to me is as close as I could get to it, and it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
and it's a BGS 10, so that's a really quite
pristine,
stunning grade as well. No,
and I would track it and get it signed.
Yeah, I like the gold powers. Are nice. They do have a tendency to do that sort of green hulking thing sometimes. I don't know if Cuadrado is.
So that one's been at 69 degrees since it came into my house. So it should be good. I haven't seen it at all. I don't have that much gold, but the golds I have, they haven't begun that process, and I'm terrified of that process. I am terrified of that process.
Yeah, no, I've actually
right.
Yeah, because it's one of those things with these gold powers, they come up so infrequently, and for some reason, despite being a Manchester United fan, I've been obsessed with Mario Balotelli for a long time. I've always considered him one of the most fascinating, misunderstood character studies. Just pretty much one of the last 10, 15 years of football. And there was a Balotelli gold power came up out of 5. And I was like, this was about 2 years ago, I'm never going to see this again. So if it, I had to. I had to. It was at PSA 8, and it's probably a record,
though, didn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's something which, if I ever did a Desert Island Slabs myself, I'd include it because it's one of those things which, yeah, it's probably a record for a Mario Balotelli sale, but it's just I might not see that again ever. Yeah. That item come up, so it's almost like I don't like this sort of now or never thing, because I think most things in collectibles you will get another chance, but
later,
there are some which I'm like, actually I have to try and get that. So
no, I feel the same way. I saw it and I had to hop on it. There was no way. I was like, I don't think I'm going to see this again. And I felt the exact same way as you. So I just had to I grabbed it. As soon as I got it, I was like a little kid just seeing it for like an hour, just staring at it, just like, I don't know if I was expecting it to move or twinkle or glisten. I don't know, but I'm just like staring at it like, oh,
well, the gold powers do have that cool, like, vinyl-y twinkle, though. They do sort of do that almost they don't have a 3D type effect to them, which is quite cool. I've never seen a gold, because you've obviously got the colour match element as well to an extent with Colombia as well, which makes it look just
beautiful, man.
Really nice. Yeah, and it's an amazing story, and I know there was an element of like obviously the circumstance in itself, there was a degree of luck with, Norman and things, but not really luck though, in a way, because it's just almost like a payoff for that sustained work over, 37 years or so. And it was a payoff for everyone, like you said.
Oh, everybody, every restaurant was like, they couldn't believe it. I was getting phone calls from family members I didn't know I had. Everybody was like, how did you do it? And I just kept telling everybody, like, the universe did it, man. I didn't, like, we just worked. We didn't know what to do. I wouldn't know how to get them to come into our place, right? Like, and they showed up. They enjoyed the food, which to me was number one. Like, I knew if they wanted to eat, I made sure our food was good. I remember watching Juan cook and everything, and like realizing, like, there's no way that they're not going to enjoy this meal, right? Like it was prepared with so much love, so much it was like every dish was like a plate of art. And I remember I saw every dish come out, and I remember just staring at every dish like, okay, it's ready, go. Take this, boom, next one. Like, I'd look at everything like, all right,
going Gordon Ramsay. going
this
Gordon Ramsay on it.
ex-Tony. Yeah, I was on my Gordon with it, and you know, we have the best team. They knew it was a moment that, you know, they all took pictures too with them. That was really awesome. I got to bring the freaking kitchen out to take pictures with the soccer team. They're the first people that I took care of when you know, he's like, yo man, we have to leave like in 2 minutes. You know, who wants pics? And I'm like, the kitchen. And I went in the back and I'm like, yo, put everything down. Like, come out. Y'all got to go first. Y'all got to go first. So they came out and took it. And then me, because my dad had just arrived. So, like I said, that was a great moment for me and my pops to, and that's where it kind of, me and him kind of got back into talking. I'm telling you, it connects with soccer. It's like, with all these moments, there is a connection to my brother, my dad, 1994, my family, our business. Like, everything is connected in Houston. Like, everything is intertwined and connected to just these key things that, you know, always go back. My next item. So this one is, you know, you said something key. You were like, items that don't necessarily have to have a lot of value, you know, money-wise. It's stuff that means something to your heart. And this next item, I could have picked other things, but I get joy out of this one when I look at it, right? And it's because it's like, he did what I think nobody expected him to, in such a manner that no matter what happens, it always goes back to 2014 World Cup for our next contestant on Champs version of Desert Island. My boy, I can't get enough of this sticker. I think it's perfect. The design, I don't know, the 2014, it's just a beautiful design. The way the kit, you see his crest, right? What's called a logo, his hair, he's innocent, he's pure. And what he did in this World Cup was what Valderrama and them did in 1990. They brought back this force that we needed. You know, 6 months before Falcao gets injured, that crushed every Colombian. I mean, this is a man that for about 2 years, in my opinion, was probably third or fourth best striker, in my opinion, in the world. And that might sound a little crazy to some, but I mean, Falcao was that guy, right?
I agree.
2 years, he was incredible. So when he gets hurt 6 months before, Colombia's hopes, like, that's why I hate looking at his 2014 Prizm, because it's like, it didn't exist. He didn't play. You know what I mean? It like kills me. And for James to step in and our team to kind of fill that void of our star player not being there, James' performance is for the ages. Like, he did stuff every game, and you see with the ease that it was done, like how the flow, I mean, every goal was freaking beautiful, man. And you know, yeah, we lost, right? We, you know, didn't get to where we needed to go, but I felt it was a great way to get back into that level. And forever, he's somebody that I'm always gonna ride with James. Like, I'm always with him. I'm always gonna back him. I mean, I've seen everyone say whatever they want to say about him. And he went to a World Cup and was the player at that World Cup. Like, you can't, I mean, that's such an accomplishment, you know. Then he goes to Real Madrid. People forget, right? Before the Frenchman came in, right? He was good on that team. His first year with them, he played very well. Like, he wasn't just no bag of peanuts his first year, right? He played well.
Yeah, he was
Coaching
good.
changes occurred. Couple of what's called an injury, couple strains, you know, fell out of favor. I don't want to, you know, judge anybody. Maybe he went through what Ronaldinho did with the fame, the change of lifestyle. When you go to Spain and you're like, you know, he had a great 2014, 2015, right? Maybe when he got hurt, he just went into partying, maybe stuff that he wasn't used to. And then I just think he just fell out of favor slowly. He's still performing, until he got completely benched, right? Then he goes to what's called Bayern, sorry.
Yeah.
And he still had some what's called like moments there, right? I loved his first couple months at Everton, right? So man, they were beautiful. And maybe I'm wrong, right? But those first like 8-10 weeks, every morning, man, it was like such a vibe to wake up 7:30. I forgot the time, but it was early, right? And I remember watching these games and like, man, he was putting some balls beautiful. Like just his left foot to me is magical. And I'm like I said, I'm always gonna ride with him. He's still producing. He's still someone that we're counting on in these next couple of years. And he's right now, he's every year he's always in some other country playing, right? But he still plays, man. He's still doing what he loves. He still has his moments. For us, he has played well. Like in his last couple of months with us, man, Colombia really played well with him. So really, really happy for him. Have a couple pieces. This one for obvious reasons.
That's the combo signatures, isn't it?
Now this one, I wish it was on card, obviously, but this was beautiful, man. And I got his first. Actually, I got his flawless jersey number. Yeah. And I love that image. He looks like Daniel's son.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, he does.
Like Ralph Macchio, like Karate Kid, Crane Kick. He's doing it right there, man. I love that one right there, man.
Yeah, I mean,
he's amazing, man. He really brought us back into the fold.
His performance in that World Cup was so incredible, and obviously because even it's Falcao. I agree with you about Falcao, by the way. And after that summer, he signed for Manchester United on loan, and it didn't work out. But at the time, I was so excited when Man United signed Falcao because he was such a big deal. And I agree, he was one of the best pure strikers in the world. And his knee ligament injury, even made like quite a big deal, even in England, in the sort of press and things. That shows you how highly regarded he was at the time. But then by the time the World Cup started, not Falcao wasn't forgotten, but to an extent he was, because James became the star, even actually more than Neymar's performance, who obviously was the poster boy of that World Cup. But James was the best player in that World Cup. He was absolutely incredible.
He came out of nowhere and shocked the world. He played. I feel like I said, we're always going to see those goals and hear about him forever, and that's why I chose that sticker. Like I know that sticker probably costs like 20 cents now, but it's one that I will always want to have and display proudly, right? Because it captures a moment in time. That was the last World Cup I saw with my brother. So he passed away a couple months after that, right? Rest in peace to my brother Hector. And I remember watching that World Cup with him, and he was looking at me with this look like, dog, we're back, dog. Colombia's back. Like, can you imagine, like, my, like, brother, right, from, like, 94, 98, he just is number one fan. They don't do nothing. Then they like, go there, and then James does that. And I remember my, like, brother was freaking out, like, and I saw, like, what that meant to him, and that's why I feel like I interlocked at that point. Where I rubbed some of that, what's called like Houston love to Colombia because of my brother and the history there, right? And I remember just watching like those goals, those games, and it felt like back in the day when we used to watch, like, man, like, let's be honest, in 94, Romario and Baggio were like kings. And I remember like in those days, it was like you either liked one or the other. It was like you either like, these guys, right, yellow team or blue team. So in FIFA, it was always like yellow, it was always Brazil, Italy. So like just to see all that occur, he brought us back, put us on the map, and Colombia was back. Like it was cool to be Colombian. it was cool to walk around with your kid again. It wasn't like a joke. It wasn't like that bad stigma that we've always had, right? Like it was like, yo, James is that guy. He was a star. Girls, cameras flashing, even Braun, even, Braun James was even like tweeting about James. Like LeBron James was tweeting about James during that World Cup. So, he's always going to have, in my opinion, a spot on that Colombian pedestal of players. Is he the best ever? I mean, in my opinion, I would say arguably I have Falcao as the best ever, but I have James probably at 1A and 1B. You know what I mean? In for now, because the next one might.
Well,
next item might come up, right? So let's just finish on James before we take the great dive, right? But he's done it, man. Obviously, he could have done better in other places, but he still left his mark, and I think that's what matters to me. That he touched me. He's somebody that I remember those memories. I remember my brother's face when those two goals that he did, the chest drop, and then he flings it and it curved. Oh man, and I'll just never forget that, him saying, "We're back, dog. Colombia's back." And I remember just yo, we really are. Are we this good? Oh man, so great moments right there.
I thought Colombia. It's difficult when you say a nation like Colombia are going to win the World Cup. But at one point during 2014, I thought that Colombia were going to win the World Cup. And I don't say a nation in a bad way. It's just often the less fancied nations do tend to, when the crunch starts coming, they just it tends to not go quite. But they're unlucky to lose against Brazil.
That was a great game, by the way.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Amazing game. That second half. Oh, Colombia played so well that second half. Oh man. Whew.
Yeah, it's just couldn't pin. It was 2-1, was it? It was 2-1, I think. It couldn't, because they went 2-0 down, then got a goal back and couldn't. I remember
Yepes. There was a goal that they pulled back by Mario Yepes, Super Mario, our captain at the time, and they pulled it back. They said it was offsides. To this day, it wasn't offside. Damn Brazilians! I hate all of you except one of them, but two of them really. But yeah, man, that was tough for us, but we did good. I think we did what we were supposed to do. There was nothing expected of us. That's why I think we did so good. If that makes any sense. No one expected us to do anything because of what we said. Our best player was hurt 6 months before. And we get there and wake everybody up. Everybody just underestimated us. And as Rudy T once said, the head coach of the Rockets, never underestimate the heart of a champ. And I live with that quote. You never, when a champion is backs against the ropes, they always fight back. And everyone on my list fights back, right? Next item.
Which is a very appropriate segue into
very
a fighter.
Appropriate segue. I think this is my new. I'm gonna choose my words cautiously here. This is my new. How do I say this? My new muse. This is somebody that, top to bottom, if my daughter brings home Luis Diaz and tells me that that's her boyfriend, I'm going to give that guy the hand and give him a hug. Luis Diaz, a.k.a. Lucho, forward for Liverpool, star player for Colombia. I could talk about this man for hours, days, months, years. I could live stream on Twitch about him forever. He's somebody that, man, this is all cycles. So everything that we kind of speak about, it goes back, let's say 94, but we got that Pibe cycle. Then we got the James cycle of 2014, 2018. We miss out in 2022. But in the middle of all this, there's a silver lining. This guy comes into our lives and just puts Colombian football and Colombia in general back on the map after, it kind of died. died down a little bit, and he's somebody that he brings everything to like the table. He's fierce in his approach, in his effort, and how he plays. Right, how he plays, his style, just everything about him has like, it's almost like I fell in love again. And this is a guy that's way younger than me. This goes back to the 13, 14-year-old champ of looking at these guys like Luis Diaz, man. If I was to see him in the street right now, I would probably freak him out like I did, Hakeem Olajuwon. But man, he comes in. He's somebody that, kind of like, like other players on our list, didn't even have enough money for shoes. Stayed with it, kept with his craft, got peeped out by Pibe Valderrama, saw him in a tournament, told somebody like, yo, that kid has something, right? He's special. And that kid ends up playing, does great, crosses the pond, plays excellent in freaking what's called like Portugal. I mean, I remember watching a couple of those games and like, yo, this dude is the real deal. Like, because as a fan, you're kind of like, you don't want to get your hopes up too much because every player is good. Every player you like want them to be that guy. And I learned my lesson with Denilson. I thought he was gonna be like the next greatest player ever, and he broke my heart. So it was like, I was kind of like worried about this guy, but then watching him play, his effort when he would score. What I loved about him early on, he got more excited when he would assist a goal than when he would score. And those are little things that I appreciate as a fan of like the game, when you get more excited over your assist than a goal, right? And man, he does well enough that, he gets put like, like on our team, he started playing, I want to say in 2019, 2018 was when he first like came in. But in 2021 was when he came and showed the world who he was. So he comes out of nowhere in that tournament, Copa America 2021. He just dominates. My item right here, 2021-22, Donruss, black velocity, 14 out of 25, jersey number. The reason for this is the image. Yeah. This was after he scores the game winner against, I want to say it was Peru or Chile in the third place game of this, right? He scored it on the last second. And if you see COVID, there's no one in the stands in like the background. So it kind of like, you know what I mean? Like captures a moment, right? And his effort, like the way he's grabbing his kid, when you watch that goal, it was such a goal because it was literally the ref was about to blow the whistle. So this guy brings the ball from up top, comes center with it, and kicks a screamer. To me, it was like a last-second game winner in basketball. Like if you watch it, that's what it was. And he's yelling at like his own team with like the kid. And that's where this image was. So this image, to me, it captures that tournament because he did that bicycle kick against Brazil in this tournament. He also did it recently again, right? But this, to me, is an item that I will forever love. It's jersey number 2. It's black velocity. I have a affinity for black velocity. I think they're beautiful. Like, oh, man.
I agree. I don't have any from 2022, but as in the 2018, I think the first Donruss one that I've got two black velocities. I think Sterling and Jesus, because they're in the Black Man City kit. So actually, it's colour matches in a brilliant way. And the velocities just look so good. I think, especially with the black velocities. I like the red velocities as well. Actually, when they colour match, they look really really nice as well. But it's
Colombia is his first sticker there. He looks so different too. He looks malnourished. Like he doesn't even look healthy. That's how poor he was. It took him a while to gain weight and to fill out his body. Like seriously, he was so lanky and like they had to kind of give him like vitamin shots and stuff to get him like up to par. That's how That's how great his skill was. That they really put money like in him.
I think as well is that you can see that from the way Diaz plays, elements of that, because he's a very. I don't want to compare him to people like Bruno Fernandes, but like Bruno, if you imagine like Diaz doesn't strop at all, and then you have a player like Fernandes, and as a Manchester United fan, it's incredibly frustrating seeing Liverpool players that you actually like more as human beings, and I'm a Man United fan, but I like the Liverpool players' personalities more. And Diaz, he just when he scores or like when he assists, when he scores, because obviously the camera's on him, it's like this it's like not this statement thing for the sake of it. You can tell like how much it means to him.
Passion, and it's like a fierce passion, right? It's like it's like really aggressive, like caring emotion that he displays, and that's what makes him special to me because he cares. And I think in this era, that's our issue. If a player doesn't do good, if they just blow off like the media, they blow off their coach, we're like, oh my God, he doesn't care. So when you see like Diaz, you like, oh, he cares. Like he's someone that cares. But he's to me is just a throwback to those classic players. And he's one. I mean, he's someone that, he's still, he's 27, I want to say.
Yeah, 26, 27 maybe.
Yeah, so like he's someone that, he just got to stay healthy. He had one injury that was pretty bad. He was out for a while. Man, when he signed to Liverpool, that felt like Everton all over again. That first month or two, I was Liverpool fan number. I brought my kids the kit. I was out here trying to learn songs. I was like planning trips to Liverpool. I ain't never been to England. I was like doing stuff like, I was like, yo, I got to go see him play. And those first couple games, like his first game when he came in, goosebumps. He comes in and then he does like, I don't know if they counted it as a assist, but he steals the ball just because he didn't give up on it. He steals it, wraps it around. The ball almost goes out of bounds. He keeps it inbounds, dishes it off, goal. And they win because of him in his first game. I was screaming. He brings this thing that you want to see him play because something's going to happen because he's that good. Like, he plays hard. So, like, even if we lose, he's going to play hard. And he's had games where he plays bad. But his effort has never been questioned. And that's something that I love about him, right? I was able to... I love this one. Talk about color match.
Yeah. Really nice. Is that like out of 5, is it? That would be a green out of 5, will it be? Yeah. From Prizm. Yeah.
And then this one too is nice too. I call this one Candy Cane.
Yeah. Is that a select? Like,
yeah, cracked ice. I think it's 23 out of 25 jersey.
Yeah.
Beautiful. No, I love him, man. He's the only one of one I have in my collection.
Yeah, I you know what? Because actually I was familiar with it. I thought obviously we'd see Valderrama, the next person as well we're going to speak about, and James, and then I knew we'd probably see Luis Diaz as well because we'd never spoken personally, but I could tell he was a muse of yours, and I actually thought that you probably would go for the select one of one as a Diaz item. Yeah, that's what I actually thought we'd see that one. I love the Black Velocity, don't get me wrong, but because it's a one of one, I thought you'd probably maybe go for that.
It was just because of the image, right? It's that it has meaning to me because I hear you like that. When I won that one of one, champ party that night, I was like, because I wanted it, and it was like, I don't go for those, right? I try to like, one of one, it doesn't appeal to me like too much, right? But that one, Columbia kit, number 7, his actual kit now, 2022, just fresh, new black. I jumped on it. I was so blessed that I won because on eBay, all the shill bidding and all that. But I was blessed, man, and man, I'm telling you, I have a strong feeling, right? And now this could look really bad. So if somebody makes a clip of this, it's all right. I think Colombia's going to win the Copa America in a couple months. I really, really believe that. And if they do, oh man. I mean, Champ might have to fly to Colombia for the after party and celebrate like with like the team.
Yeah, because I mean, and Diaz will. Well, if that does happen, he'll have been a big part of it, I think, because
Has to.
he's a
Him and James,
huge.
I'm banking on those two and Cuadrado to give us that last, right? That last constant, steady wing play, and we have to do it, man. We have to do it, man. Shout out to Cucho Hernandez too. So he's from my father's hometown. So he's a player that I've been following, and he's the MVP of like the freaking MLS. He just won a championship there, and he's from my dad's little town. It's so crazy to me. So Colombia has definitely been doing good, man. I'm
Yeah,
proud of them. I'm proud of them. I'm proud. And the main reason I'm proud, I want to say this next item, man. It's it's a little tough, right? I knew I wanted him on the list, and I'm not gonna lie, he was taken off of the list. Like this list took me a while, James. This I literally early on, like if you're to see the original list, I'd say it was about there was a couple of things that I fought that I was like, man, like Xavi. I love Xavi. Oh man, he's I hold him high. But when I sat here and I did this list, I told myself like, don't just pick Xavi. This is moments. This is stuff that's about you, about your life, and Xavi. I love him. I love him. But it's like these moments that I'm explaining, they mean, I feel a little more touch with them because of they intertwine with my life at multiple times, right? And this next one, it's a crazy, crazy thing. It's somebody that we, spoke, and I told you, I was like, it's kind of gloomy to collect them. It's kind of he's somebody that stands for so much, but it's such a tragedy. It's to me, I think one of the most tragic stories of football. To me, arguably, it is the most tragic when you really break down what occurred and as to why it occurred. And my next item, without further ado, with, like I said, a little glaze, I am going to toast to him, is 1988 Panini Fútbol Colombiano, Andrés Escobar. May he rest in peace. Man, I didn't think I was ever going to find... So I bought this album like twice, thinking it was going to have it in there, crossing my fingers, and that one was never in it. And it wasn't even stuck in it. I would look at these albums and I'd be like, man, people wouldn't even stick them in the albums. And in the albums, people were always sticking them. And it probably told me that people just wanted to save it because of what he meant. And a guy came to me, fellow guy that he knows that I love Escobar. He was able to buy them, found them, cleaned them, and I knew I had to have it. This is his true rookie. That kid, his hair, I mean, he stood for... He did everything the right way. And I think sometimes you can do things the right way and stuff goes wrong. And when it's out of your control, it's out of your hands, it is what it is. That's just what we're told. And his story, I think, will forever be a lesson of that, of how it doesn't matter, sometimes stuff happens, man. And he got caught up in this world of politics, drugs, a country that was in turmoil, a country that to this day is still going through it, a country that its politics, it's just downhill. And his murder really showed the world at the time. It really brought it to light of what was going on in Colombia, because what was going on in Colombia was going on forever. And it wasn't until this event happened that it really woke up a lot of people to, they killed a soccer player because he made it. Like when you really think about it, you want to play soccer, for fun. And if you're good enough, you can earn. right? And that's it. You want to take care of your family, take care of your kids, spend time with your wife, or you know, do it and play. That's a blessing. And imagine you having to play the biggest tournament of your life. You're getting threats back home to your family, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, even ex-girlfriends are getting threatened. Like that's stuff that you don't hear about. Like it and these guys had to go out there. 1994. We didn't speak on it earlier, but that year means a lot, man. And it means a lot to me. I think this event kind of like it just kind of like highlighted a change in my life. It was such a dark event, and it happened so close to an event in my life that when this happened, I just remember everything after this was gloomy. Everything was dark. Everything around me, our business, my dad, like my like brother, like it just kind of it happened and things were already kind of going bad, and then it just kind of felt like, man, everything is going bad. Like if this is happening and this is that, like everything is going bad. And I remember trying to really comprehend it. So he got murdered like 10 days before. He plays, right, makes an error, right. I think and I remember seeing something. He had never done that before. He had never made an auto goal in his career until that moment right there.
Yeah.
And that game was crazy too. If you watch like that game, man, we had a couple, 2 or 3 moments that it was almost as if we just could not win that game. It was almost as if there were outside forces that wanted everything to happen the way it was supposed to happen. If that makes any weird sense, right? He gets killed, man, and it's crazy because that World Cup was it means a lot. That was the first World Cup that I went to. So there was a game in Dallas. Me, my father, it was like a caravan of like Colombians, man. We drove to Dallas to go see Diego Maradona play. So we had tickets before. I had just landed, so it was crazy. I left to go to Hartford, Connecticut. I was there for like a few weeks. When I get back, my parents have split up. So, you know, we had a couple of those years where there are fights and you're in your room and you're, you know, listening to headphones, you're playing your Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog, Streets of Rage. And you're hearing the fighting in the background, and that just became normal. And I think when I came back from that trip, I remember Rockets had won. And I remember coming back and everything at my house was different. The vibe, like my dad's clothes wasn't there, like everything changed. And a week later, a week and a half, we go to like Dallas. We go see Diego. Diego gets kicked out like I think the day of or the day before he gets banned after he scores his beautiful goal against Greece in that beautiful blue kit. And he goes to the camera like, right?
Yeah.
They like drug tested him immediately afterwards. And he gets banned the day before we go see him, man. Can you believe that? That would have been cool for me to see, you know, him in action, right? So we go there and so let me explain that experience. So they put a blonde wig on me. I was looking like a midget pibe, like an overweight pibe. I had drinks thrown on me, people making fun of me. It was very horrible, man. But that was the World Cup experience, right? But yeah, man, they ended up losing 2-0. He obviously, you know, like didn't play after the game, man. I remember like, man, Argentina fans they were really mad. And I remember after that game seeing fights, like fist fights in like the parking lot. Like it got that bad. That's how much he meant, right? And then to see what happens like in a matter of like 2-3 weeks, my whole life changed. I mean, the Rockets won. My parents split up. Come back to a new world. This happens. And from there, like my life changed. Like everything from then on, it just got into me escaping into all these things that I love, like rap music. I'm a big fan of rap music. I got into rap music, film, like Godfather, Heat. You know, I'm a big like movie guy, so like I got into all these worlds and sports and all this is my escape from all this. And he he's a symbol of, man, be cautious. Even when you just strip everything away from him being a soccer player, from him being famous, from him doing that, from him being, he knew that he couldn't go out. Think about that. He still went out, and that wasn't a smart move. And I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm saying that taught me a lot. Like, at the end of the day, you got to be cautious. If you got to stay away from any energy. In his situation, he should have stayed home. Should have stayed with family. He shouldn't have been going to the nightclub to let off steam after that just occurred. You know what I mean? And that sucks for him, because I'm sure, if that happens again, he doesn't go out, right? But man, it was a good uppercut to Colombia, Colombian soccer, Colombians abroad. To this day, it's almost as if a family member died to a lot of people when you talk about them. A lot of the older guys that are in their 60s, 70s, man, they get thoughtful when you ask them about this. I traveled there, and I remember talking with the group of guys about them, and man, it was like they were happy, and then we started talking about him, and then immediately the conversation got dark. Everyone was like sad, talking about how they can't believe to this day that he's the one that got killed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why him? He was what was good for us. He was a great representation of our country. He was headed for bigger things. He was being scouted. There was even rumors that Paulo Maldini said he wanted to work with him. And when we hear that stuff, I remember like my dad was like, you know who Maldini is? Like, and he wants to train him. Like, oh my God, he's that good. And then he just gets wiped off the map, and hearts break, and they'll never be mended, man. It's like, we have to live with this forever. This is going to come up in this next World Cup. If Colombia does anything, this is going to come up. And I hate to see it, because I don't want to see it, but I think the world does need to hear it. And I think Colombians need to be reminded of how far and how little we've come from that point in our country, right? Like, we think we're so far ahead now, and we're not far ahead as much as we thought, right? Like, we got to sit back and really analyze, and I think everyone does, because this is really, to me, was a wake-up call. It really was. Guys were playing Grand Theft Auto with real money, drug barons threatening refs, threatening girlfriends, threatening grandmothers. Like, come on, man. This is a game that we're supposed to play. These dudes took it to another level, and look at us. We took that hit in '94, man. We were arguably one of the favorites. Pele himself came out and said, don't be surprised if Colombia gets to the final. Because in '93, we went to Buenos Aires and we beat Argentina in Argentina 5-0. That game, any Argentinian, you ask them about that game, and they want to smack you and get mad at you, because Colombia was that good in '94. We were that good, and the stress from what was the turmoil in our country collapsed whatever fortitude our team had, whatever chemistry, whatever flow we had going into that World Cup. During qualifications, we were ramming everybody. When you look at all those games during qualifications, Colombia was incredible. And everybody was talking about Colombia. And then we get there, and it's like, oh, yeah, the coach can't play this player because he wants his star player on his team to start. This is what the drug baron told the wife of the coach. Like, can you imagine that? That you tell the World Cup team, hey, don't start this player. I want my player to start because I want his value to go up so I can transfer him. These dudes were playing video games with real life, and everyone suffers, right? Everybody suffers, man. So this was the one that I was telling you about earlier, man. I'm going to show these because I love what I have of his, right? But this is the one I think that hurts the most. This is the one that I told you that it kills me, man. Look at that, man.
Yeah.
Look at that smile, that joy of just, man, he's taking a picture, but just look at him. Dudes don't smile like that, right? For most kids of soccer, like I mean pictures like this, they don't smile that big. And this is the only one that's like this, man. All the other ones, he's got this melancholy look as if he knew what was going to happen. Like, look at this, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful, though, right? Man, he stood for something, man. He never took nothing from him. They hated him for it, but they respected him so much. Like Pablo Escobar, like he had these dudes playing like pickup games. He would bring in the Colombian national team to play pickup games with him and his hitman. Can you imagine getting told, oh, yeah, by the way, this Saturday, Pablo Escobar wants to fly you in to go play, and you can't say no. You know what I mean? So he would go. They would offer him, hey, man, you want money? You want cars? You want girls? Like, anything you want. And he would be like, nah, man, let's just play. Like all of his guys said, he was the one that was quiet there, mad. But he knew he had to go because he wasn't trying to put his family in danger, right? Yeah. So he's got to go play with killers and like freak, man. Like, and that was our world in that era, man. And that's what I want people to know. Like, when we say it's a global game, it really just intertwines everything about our world. Like, it intertwines our human story, what's going on in our countries. And we all get attached to these stories through sports. We learn about things about what's going on in other countries through sports, right? And a lot of people, I'm telling you, they learned about what was going on because of him. Look at this beauty.
Yeah, that's the Merlin, the money one. Is it like the sort of weird like money? Yeah, interesting. Man. Yeah,
I freaking love this. It took me a while to find this one too, man. And this
they're
one
very interesting ones.
Oh, and this one I love, the red kit.
The Orbis. Yeah,
beautiful, right? Man. So man, he's that guy, and it was funny, right? We were talking about the '94, Diego,
and Diego there,
right? And then this is like the one that I'm like, wow, because this means a lot to me, right? I wanted to almost choose this one early on because so this is just the checklist of '94, but I love that his back is turned. There's no like name on the kid. His back is turned. If you show this to anyone that doesn't know soccer, they don't know who that is. They just like, who's that? But those who know, that's him, and that's why I love this one too, because I could have seen him. The champ could have seen Diego, man.
That would have been amazing, but
now
Diego had other ideas.
He had other ideas and other forms of getting prepared for games.
It's that celebration didn't really. I mean, you're definitely gonna. You probably didn't even need a drug test, to be honest with that. But
they just knew.
And Escobar. I mean, you've spoken about so much about Escobar, and it's such a tragic story that people tend to. I mean, I was only 4 when it happened. I didn't really know, but we played Colombia in the next World Cup in '98, and I actually went to that match. It was the only World Cup match I've ever been to.
Were they exchange kits?
Well, England played Colombia in Lyon in 1998, France '98, and actually we went to that match, and
that's Viva's last game.
Yeah, no, exactly. So,
wow, you saw that live?
Yeah, I did. Awesome, that's the thing, because actually I didn't want to bring it up earlier because obviously you're speaking about Pibe with such an affinity, and but Valderrama, because it was with our best family friends we went, the father and then the 2 sons, and my dad as well. So the 5 of us going, and we actually. We had 4 tickets for the orange zone because but we needed 1 more. So we actually spent the day walking around Lyon trying to get the last ticket, like an orange one. But we actually got a better ticket. So then basically my dad said, like, would you mind if you go and sit in the better seat, just more near the centre? So then I could sit with my son. And the guy was like, yeah, no problem. So we went and we sat there, and Beckham scored his first England goal. It was really exciting. But obviously, Valderrama, graphics weren't very good then on video games. But FIFA Road to World Cup '98 with Beckham front, Valderrama had this like buffy hair. Yeah, he was the only one that had this crazy hair. So we were really excited about seeing Valderrama live. Because we knew, this is the guy with the puffy hair, because this is before internet properly and stuff. So we're going to see it.
Oh, man.
But as it was, I actually learned, I mean, not to a big thing, because obviously I didn't really know about when it happened with Escobar, but I still remember it so vividly. All the Colombian fans were so lovely, and it was actually a really nice atmosphere. But the most common shirt and the name on the jersey was Andrés Escobar. So that it was, even then as an 8-year-old, I really saw how many people had him on their back. Like all the strips there was an Escobar jerseys, and it was actually that day that I found out about before the match, because I asked, and my dad and his name's Russell, the other guy. They told me the story of Escobar, and it you read more about it since then, but it really stuck with me because, like you said about in many ways, it's because it happened, but it's almost unfair to say, but it is farcical that would happen over a football match. It's farcical.
Man, right?
Yeah. And it's so sad, and like you say, it's tragic if it happens to anyone. But as for Escobar, and I don't think it is, just making him a and there's the ticket stub obviously as well. Yeah, just a really horrible event.
This one, in a weird side note, it's one of the players on US. It's one of his tickets that he had.
Oh, really?
Family.
Yeah.
I actually got a graded one, a nice copy, a full ticket. I should get it in the next couple of weeks. I've been waiting for a nice one, and this is I've had this for a while, but this one's tough, man. I showed it to my dad, and it was crazy, man. He just looked at it 2-3 seconds, realized, and handed it back to me, and went the other way. He didn't even kind of want to speak on it. That's how crazy. Instead of saying, "Oh, that's a nice item," he was just gave it back. I was like, damn.
And it does show, and actually, it's something which when you start collecting items, because actually originally when I started collecting items, I was very much against these types of things in terms of collecting those types of things. But then as you move and you evolve, you actually, I really don't like it when people try and profit from these types of things. But I find it really difficult. But actually, as you reconcile things in your mind a bit, you're actually So, for instance, one of the biggest one I've got, I'm going to do a reasonably large video on it next April. But it's Hillsborough, and Hillsborough is a very, very difficult sort of thing to comprehend in this country. And I was very, almost vehemently against getting a Hillsborough ticket. But then I I reconciled it in my mind. And actually, I was almost I have to have a Hillsborough ticket in a way, because with that tragedy, there's obviously the unfathomable human element, human tragedy, and then the horrible cover-up with Hillsborough and things. But actually, what it is as well was the story of a city uniting and saying, no, we're not taking this crap. We're not taking the government, the South Yorkshire police and their cover-up. We're actually going to stick our middle fingers up and say, look, no, we want justice. And it's such a powerful thing that I think it's almost like the first reaction is to be, I don't want it because it's a sad thing. But then actually, once you do a little bit more deep dive, you think, well, you examine your motives for why you want something, and it's do I want this to sell it on? No, I really hate it when people do that. again, no, it is a bit of a moral judgment, actually, to be fair, but I really don't like it when people do that. But to have those items and things with, Escobar, the USA Colombia ticket, I completely understand why someone would want that item, because it is a part of, it's always a bit twee and things to say it's a part of history, but it is a part of history. It happened, and it was such a significant event. And you mentioned off camera when we were doing the pre sort of chat about the impact it had at the time as well, and it's just,
No, we're still feeling it. Like our country. I mean, it is. I mean, you said the great word. It was such a significant event in not only sports but just in the world. You know what I mean? That occurred of the world's biggest event, and a player was taken out like because he made that big error. Like it's crazy. And like I said, at first I was a little. Like I wasn't sure because I was like, man, that's kind of like I feel the same way as you. It was like, but then it was like, man, but if I'm collecting him, I want items that mean something about him and about his how he connects with me in my life. And for me, with that moment, like '94, like World Cup, it's like everything that was supposed to happen for Colombia and for me that year. The only thing that went right was the Rockets. Like everything else went bad. Colombia went, didn't do nothing. We're supposed to go see Diego, didn't do that. Parents get divorced. Like, so it was like just a multitude of things that occurred. And that's why it was like, I knew like, man, I want one. And and I knew eventually I was like, I want a nice copy. Cause that's something that I want to display. I want to tell people about. I'm somebody that thinks that if you don't learn what happened in like the past, is going to happen in like the future. And I want people to know that, man, you just life, man, is delicate, man. Is delicate. And we sometimes kind of like think it's not, and we just go into our own zones, but we have to be cautious with everything, right? And learn from every example that is put right there in front of us. And for me, this was a big one. I mean, I learned a lot. I was like, don't go out because of pride, swallow pride. There's times where as a man, you are going to get tested, because that night, apparently, by all accounts, he was getting made fun of. They started smacking him on his behind. They started like telling him that it was the greatest goal that they ever saw. And I mean, can you imagine that? And you're just trying to have a drink. By all accounts, he was alone that night. He just wanted to drink, dance some salsa, have some shots, and go home. He wasn't trying to go fight. He wasn't trying to go, you know what I mean? He was just trying to blow out some steam, and he couldn't do that, man. So a big wake-up call, a moment that I think, like I said, will live in, the word is infamy, right? Like forever. And it just sucks, man. It sucks that it happened to such a, by all accounts, a great guy.
Yeah, it's truly, truly tragic, and something which obviously it still comes up a lot now, and it's still, from what you've said, it's a huge part of the Colombian psyche as well, in terms of the way that people still respond to it, and like your dad even still having that quite visceral response to it, that visceral sadness, that visceral difficulty to process the emotion. That shows you the impact. Yeah, it shows you the impact it
still hurts.
had. Yeah, and and then, so 1990, it's almost difficult to move on from it. But with your final item, 1994 was also the year that a phenomenon came to prominence, and someone that you love.
Oh man!
And tell me a bit about your final item.
All right, so first, I just want to apologize to all the viewers. We've hit the 2-hour mark, and if you've been on this journey by now, you might have noticed a crick in like my neck. Like the neck's been hurting a little bit, right? So it's because Champ always has jewelry. Champ always carries nice chains on his neck.
And
you know what I mean?
Carrying the Dixie. That's
man. Shout out to England. Shout out to London. Shout out to everywhere, man. Champ's always the natural.
Get Dixie on it for the British podcast. Yeah,
so,
no, it's
94, right?
Yeah.
We this has been a culmination of 1994. A lot happened in 94. And 94 began a journey for somebody that I feel, I mean, I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but I in my opinion, he's my favorite player. I have him in my, top 5. I know people probably think I'm crazy for that. When I look at it from a non-biased view, I have him in like my top 5, right? Even though it's biased as well, right?
Yeah.
But he's someone that when I got back into the hobby, I realized what I thought he was back in the day, he was. So what I mean by that is when I got back in the hobby, I didn't know where his cards were at as far as value, if people cared about him. I didn't know. So I started to kind of see things and people were talking about him like, man, if it wasn't for the injuries, or man, even with the injuries, and everybody was still talking about him. And I was like, man, this was my guy. This is a player that, I mean, like I've said, the closest thing I've ever seen to him would probably be Mike Tyson in the mid to late 80s. That type of dominance of physical brute force and quickness, speed. Like when you find this point where your speed and your strength are perfect, right? His explosiveness, his tenacity, his speed, his quickness, how he could accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, and so, like I said earlier, 1994, right? The world was Baggio and Romario. So I remember I was big on Romario. That was my first R9, was him, right? And I remember hearing my dad telling me, yo, if you think he's good, there's a kid on that team that's going to be even better. So in 94, World Cup comes, I'm asking my dad, where's this kid? He's like, nah, man, he's not going to play. So is he not good? It's nah, he's just too young, but he's going to play. That was Ronaldo, R9. And man, the first time, it's crazy. He still looks cool today. When you see his old footage, his old videos, clips, his shaved head, the kids, his style, Nike, how he played, his flow, it's kind of he's still cool, kind of like Bob Marley, Bruce Lee, right? Jimi Hendrix. Guys that after 50, 60 years, their swag, it's still cool to this day. If that makes any sense, what I'm trying to say,
it
right?
makes sense.
Weird,
of course
right?
It does. Yeah.
And so with him, it's when you see those clips of him, he was that guy. He was on top of the world. He starts off 94 to 96, right? He's what's called playing. He's across the world. I mean, he's on a whole nother place, right? He's playing, and I think he got laughed at when the first day they ask him, so how many goals are you going to score? And he tells them 30 or whatever. He ends up scoring 30 plus. And people laugh. He was that good that he knew he was going to come in that league and dominate. And he dominated, dominated. And then he goes to Barcelona, who I feel that season is magical. That season is one that I've gone back and researched and watched highlights, read clips on. And that season, I feel it was immaculate just on what he did in that season, right? And so my next item, I'm trying to wrap everything up to this item. This item culminates collecting, culminates R9, culminates hunting, learning about this thing of ours, right? So when I first heard about this one, let me show it. When I first heard about it, I hadn't seen it a lot. I saw it maybe once or twice before, and then I find out that it has a little bit of this rare thing to it where his second season, he transfers to Italy. He was supposed to stay there. He leaves. They had an agreement in place, I think, and I think at the last second, he leaves. So this sticker was made, I think, maybe the first couple of weeks. Once he transfers, I think they I think they replaced him with Sonny Anderson, I want to say is his name, right?
Yeah.
They replaced him with him, and then they pulled this off of the shelves. And so this one, it's not like super, super rare, but the journey of me finding it, I remember when I saw it, I heard about it, I started to search for it. When I found it, the connection I made with like the guy that sold it to me, I remember talking to him like a month after the fact, like texting him like normally about his daily like activities, like, hey, so what you have for lunch today? Oh yeah, have that thing this weekend. It was because of the connection of me finding this sticker that I wanted so bad that I learned a lot from, like, that's how this game goes. You know, you meet enough people are gonna bring you stuff that you're looking for. Everyone's on this journey in cards and stickers and in tickets and in items, you know, kits. And we're all trying to find the stuff that makes us complete, as I say. And for me to be able to find that one, I get it graded. It was like my first big sub. So Champ had never subbed. And I remember I did this sub thinking this was going to at best be a 6. It ends up getting a 9, which, if you know me and my R9 collection, I try to shoot for PSA 9s, right? And they say buy the slab and not the grade, but I just personally like the aesthetics of the PSA 9 with the R9 slab.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So, you know, when this one got a 9, man, it was really cool to me. I love like the back of it, right? It's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's I love the image, the like depth, like the background is just blurry. If you look at the what's called like composition of like the crowd at 3/4 up top, the grass, the ball, what's called like Nike symbol. His knees look like flawless specimens at this point. They're untouched, they're uncut. This was him at his peak. I feel like his peak, you know, 94 to 99, he was, I mean, supernatural. He was an alien. And it sucks to see what happened to him. And it sucked. And I remember that's why his World Cup win to me means so much, because we've never seen a player go through the type of injuries. This man wasn't even supposed to be walking. And he goes to a World Cup, and it's crazy. If you look at his goals, shout out to Rivaldo, by the way, who doesn't get enough credit in that World Cup. He did a lot of feints and a lot of moves to get R9 to shine in that World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I, like feel that way. But in that World Cup, a lot of his goals I felt were just natural ability. He wasn't at 100%. And there's one where he gets the ball, he turns around and just kicks it, and like the ball like goes in. Those just natural ability. This other one, he does a what's called like toe poke with it from a long distance. The ball goes in. His first fake that he does against Ghana, he almost like got caught from the guy that was running right behind him, because he wasn't as fast as he was before, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that he was still able to do these moves, it was what I always tell people, he was that far ahead that him at 60, 70, 80% was still a top player.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. If those moves, because I remember one time I showed somebody and they're like, you know, Messi looks cooler when he does his moves. He looks slow. And I was like, man, that's how good he was. Like, if he scored what, 7, 8 goals, right? I'm not sure the exact amount of that cup, but he scored goals. They win the World Cup, scores against what's called like Germany. I was crying. It was redemption. It was like everybody was counting him out. Everybody counted Brazil out. Like nobody wanted, they were like, no, they're past their time. Dino came in with the right energy for that team, right? I felt he came in right. Kaká had some nice assists in that World Cup. They, you know, and man, Rivaldo, I thought, tore it up. Like he did great. But man, he, you know, his career is a great story. I love, you know, his hunt for all his cards and stickers. It's never ending. It never ends. And it's like I'm on a journey now that at this point I don't even write lists anymore. All the players that I love to collect, I don't even have lists anymore. Like at this point, I know what I'm looking for. I know what I could get better. I know what's rare. I know what to jump on. once you like start to read these pop reports. I didn't read pop reports for like my first year. I didn't even care. And once you learn, like, then you realize rarity, and then these are items, that you want just because like this was only released in Spain for a certain amount of time, or this was, and as a collector, that's the type of stuff that makes me Indiana Jones. Like, I want to find this stuff. I want to go hunt. I want to, and his journey, like I said, man, all these seasons, all these kits, right? All these different years that he played in different places, it gives me such a journey. I'm always finding new stuff. I'm always finding stuff that I thought I wouldn't see. Right now, I mean, I'm just at this point, man. I'm more obsessed with hunting his stuff down now. Like, when I see something, I won't hesitate for him. Like, I'll make the reach for it. And I learned early on, like, if there's something that you want and it's PC and you're financially able to do it, this is a big key element here that a lot of people, fail, right? If you're financially able to do it, have that money aside for those items that you do want to, crawl for and fight for. And he's someone that's number one on my list. Every time I see something that I want, I jump on it. I try to get it. I've had connects that have brought me some incredible R9 pieces. I mean, I got cool R9 stuff, man.
Yeah, I love that sticker. I love that sticker.
He looks so like, man, just ready, right?
Yeah,
and
I love
this
that sticker.
one. I mean, like, look at this.
Yeah, that's the 96, isn't it? Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Netherlands is looking nice and tanned.
Yeah.
And then this one right here. So it was a big debate between those two. This one that I first showed and this one. It was close.
Yeah.
So this is his only 1998 World Cup card. And white kit, Brazil coloring, which makes it so clean. A beautiful set, by the way. This set I love. Right? Released only in Italy. They obviously only there, but it's not rare at all, because at first I thought it was rare, and then before you know it, you have like 8 copies of it, so it's not rare at all.
Yeah.
But is definitely one that I love, man. And like I said, man, he's I love this one too, man. Oh man, this one I love. The game worn.
Oh, that's a nice one.
The patch.
Yeah.
The Milan patch. And then the ruby. This is his the second I think this is the second set that had what's called like numbered cards.
The numbered ones. Yeah, these have become very popular recently, haven't they? I've seen quite a few people speaking about these.
Because these were tied away in Japan, Korea, right? Like for a while. And up until recently, they started to surface. And but now it's been a while since we've seen key players like kind of like what's called like come up. I know there is a Zizou out like what's called like right now. But those are ones that I'm always like hunting for. I think that's cool to have, him in an actual what's called like numbered card during that era, not now, because now they've over flooded it with so many modern R9s that I had to stop. I mean, I realized like 2 months in, I was like, they're just gonna keep printing them every freaking month. So, man, he made it though, man. He made it. He won the World Cup, after everything, he partied hard. He partied hard. Brazilians like to party, apparently. But it goes to show, though, man, he still put on a show. He still won. He still made it. He never won Champions League. That's like my thing that I hate about him, that I hate to talk to people, because that always gets brought up eventually, right?
Yeah.
He didn't win Champions League, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But man, he won the World Cup. I mean,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like he won 2, even though the first one he didn't play. Second one he goes to the finals. Third he wins, and the fourth, like I said earlier, Roberto Carlos like fell asleep, and then France wins. But man, he's just he was just ahead of his time. He really was an alien. There's players that come alongside, like he was like Michael Jordan really for that era. Like, and I remember that's what they were calling him, was like Michael Jordan of soccer. That was his like Nike promo or whatever, right?
Yeah, you're right, because obviously here, you know, he was a massive deal for Nike. He was like from that late 90s. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
not quite as big as a chap called David Beckham here. I'm not going to lie, but you know, he was up there. It was almost like the Nike athlete for football was Ronaldo, excuse me, and then the Adidas was David Beckham, and you'd see them everywhere. You'd see them everywhere.
Yeah, those two epic.
Oh yeah,
this is his debut.
Is that Scotland? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Scotland. Yeah, that's Scotland.
Yeah. He's great, man. I'm telling you, him and Bive is just those two. I could never get tired of, like, collecting, watching highlights, talking about them. They just mean a lot to me, man. Like all this does. I mean, all this just ties into that era that I'm still chasing. Like I've always said, I'm the pre-modern prima donna, right? That's my era, like 79, 80 to like 2006, 2007. That's where I kind of like float around. And that's my era, man. Those are the players that I saw. Those are the players that I felt. I dive into vintage. I dive into what's called like pre-war, ultra modern, because of Luis Diaz. Man, that is fun. I tell people, like, it's cool when you can hunt these cool cards and they're cheap and they're fun and they're coming out, all these, you know, but for him, obviously, right? It's just like a fun thing for me. But man, everything though, it's why I still have this passion, man. All this was stuff that I saw as a kid. It left such an impression on me. You know, we didn't even talk about Halo. Like Halo, I was big into video games, so Halo, I was into Halo, right? But all these things, you know, video games, comic books, cards, movies, sports from that era is what I still like today. And it's like I said, when I look at my cards, I'm not 42-year-old father of two, husband, boss of 32. I'm like still that 13, 14-year-old kid, like recording Rocket games, trying to play basketball the next day outside, right? Like,
Yeah.
And that's why I do this, is because it brings me back to that. And I, you know, it's therapy, man. It keeps me sane. It keeps me balanced. It keeps me a part of a world that I love. I love just like seeing just content. Like your first two episodes were amazing. I mean, Fav and Fadi. I mean, I even like told you, I was like, yo, man, are you sure that you want to backdoor them with me? Like those two guys are considered, you know, when I came in, and you immediately realize their importance into our thing and their knowledge. And those are two guys that you can reach out to, man. They've always, when I've ever bothered them, I think Fadi I maybe haven't even really bothered, but he's someone that when we talk, or we, you know, they're good people. They have passion. They really care about this. And I think early on, a lot of people saw that in me, and that's why I still talk to a lot of these GOATs, as I call them, like these OGs, that they saw that it wasn't a joke for me. This is real. Like I tell people, like, this is me. This is real. This is what I do, man. This is my passion. This is what I love to play with. This is my what's called like sandbox, right? And so I'm first, man. I'm blessed and very grateful for you, you know, like having me on here. Earlier you said a comment about for your episode. I would love to partake in helping out with your episode, even if it's a little part or a little segment. I would love to be able to talk shop with you on your list, right? And thank you for you know what I'm saying, like catching my vibe. I know there's times where I may be a little off. My flow is a little intense, but I'm glad that you saw through that, and you saw that that's my outer shell. Like there is substance inside the champ. I do now people are going to realize why I follow Colombia so hard, R9, why I'm behind Luis Diaz, James, and you know what I mean? All these players as to why I follow them, the Rockets. Like, it's because it ties into my life, right? It's not just stuff.
Exactly.
It's real life for me, man.
And almost like what you said about it being almost like a portal into your past. But those things, it's a portal into your past, but that's still the person you are. That's the person you are today as well. And that's the amazing thing. It's evocative, but to the past, but it's influenced you no end to the person you are today.
Yeah.
And
it's
why
me, man. It's me, man.
Yeah, you've said a few times today about, tying it all together. And that's exactly what all of these things are inextricably linked. So, like they're 8 items, but it's more how they all play off each other. And yeah, I mean, we speak about Ronaldo being a phenomenon, but Champ, you're a phenomenon as well. You really are. And it's been so much fun. I think that everyone will love this episode. And you mentioned about the length. To be honest, I'm not prescriptive with lengths. And if people want to dip in, dip out, watch 10 minutes, watch 15 minutes at a time, like not watch all of it, I'm fine with that as well, because you have to see where it goes. And, we've got such an insight into who you are and your life and what makes you this sort of, incredibly infectious personality. And, I'm sure, no doubt, we'll keep in touch after this. It's been very special.
I definitely expect that now, man. I really like what you're bringing to this table, and it's a table that I want to be at. You're someone that I feel, man. Your passion for Bex, man. That video, man. I was like, yo, that's the content that we need, that I need. Like, that's the stuff that I want to see. And it just, thank you, man. Seriously, you're right now doing work that needs to be done. And you deserve everything that's coming for you. I have a feeling that this is gonna slowly catch a wave and build up, and in years from now people will be able to like look back on us and be like, yo, these dudes was a little geek, a little geeky, but they was some all right chaps, man. We as long as there's passion and good vibes, everything always goes good, So thank you, James. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I got to sneak in the Dixie Dean, man. So I had to. Man. I was excited about that when I acquired that one. So
the Dixie Dean is a wonderful card, and I'm sure in an episode at some point on Desert Island Slabs, we will probably see a Dixie Dean card. I'm sure of that. But yeah, thank you so much, Champ, and thank you so much to everyone for listening to this episode of Desert Island Slabs. Champ was an amazing guest, and if you're a collector and you'd like to message me about coming on Desert Island Slabs, then please do not hesitate. Just message me on the Desert Island Slabs Instagram or the My Sports Compendium Instagram, and we will try and get you on at some point. But if not, thank you for listening and goodbye.